Welcome, guys. I see you guys. We'll get started here in just a minute. What's up? I'll be with you in just a minute at 8:30. Thanks for joining. Kind of feel like Oz behind the curtain. Count it down. I don't have clocks. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, welcome to Wake and Aware, and I am Nick Angel. It is Sunday, November 29th, and thank you for joining me. This is the Wake and Aware show. It's a full moon tonight, and there will be an eclipse this evening, so wow, what kind of wild energies are those? So thanks for joining me, and just want to run through some things that we're going to be talking about on the show today. I don't have a guest with me, so it'll be anybody that calls in throughout the show and myself, but I've got some interesting topics that we're going to talk about tonight. One, we're definitely going to touch base about this full moon tonight, which is, if you've seen it, if you felt the energy, you know it's wild. It's another night that I did not sleep last night. Generally happens to me on the full moon and the new moon. We're going to talk about paradigm shifts, shifting thoughts from one reality and just waking up and all of a sudden life is completely different, or what you believed about something has completely changed. We're going to talk about reasoning, deductive and inductive reasoning, and logic and how those play a role in our lives. We're going to talk about communicate. If we have time, we're going to talk about communication, and what communication really is in a conscious world. And we're also going to talk about letting go as a manifesting tool. Letting go is kind of like, I don't want to just say it's saying goodbye, but it can also be thought of as like going to rest. So I'm just going to roll the intro here and we'll get started. I'm up. Nice. If you're just joining me, I am Nick Angel, and this is the Awake and Aware show, where our topics are discussing using good energy, high frequency, and wavy vibes to stay conscious throughout the day and get over some of the hurdles that kind of take us out of our groove or take us out of our flow, how we can stay in our flow, how we can stay in our groove, how we can stay awake all day, so how we can stay alert throughout the day and function and still have creativity and not have that 1 p.m. crash from some crummy coffee or all the food that we ate at lunch. Have a few topics that we're going to discuss this week. And as you see, my share is empty over here. I just want to thank Charlene, who came and was my guest last week and from Hollywood. Boy, I love to misspeak, don't I? maybe it's Freudian slip. Maybe she was wearing a costume, or maybe she was a body snatcher. Anyhow, so first thing I want to talk about is this full moon that's going on right now. It's pretty blaring outside right now. I don't have a picture to show you guys, but it's something else. It's in Gemini energy, or it's in the Gemini state of the zodiac. And we all see the full moon, we all hear about it, but some people just don't know what a full moon is. A full moon is when the moon is exactly opposite the sun with the earth in between. And well, not necessarily in between, because then you would see the shadow, but that's what's happening tonight, because that's when an eclipse is. So there will be a lunar eclipse, and that's when the sun and the earth passes through the moon. And normally a full moon is when the light from the sun reflects off of the moon back on the earth. So it's kind of like a mirror reflecting the sun, which is really, really powerful. And what's really cool about that, in my opinion, is it adds the third dimension of light. And when we're thinking about creation around us, when we're thinking about things in 3D, something that has length, height, width, and depth, all these measurements in matter all exist in light. And so now when you add, you see the light, right? And you see yourself seeing the light, and then you get light from another state. Now, it may not always be shining on you, but it is kind of metaphorical. But the energies of it seem to exist in our reality. And so using the full moon and the new moon is, in fact, almost the exact, it's when it's completely dark and it doesn't see any light from the sun. And that's when those 2 days are really good for setting intentions, for manifesting. And if some of you guys are new, we do talk about the law of attraction on the show. We do talk about manifesting. We do talk about using just setting intention, setting goals, things of that nature. So we're not purely metaphysical. This is a holistic show, which means mind, body, spirit. So we kind of deal with all of those topics to overcome those hurdles that I just talked about a little while ago. I just want to read something about the full moon. Let's see here. It says the moon is currently in Gemini, and Gemini rules the brain and nervous system. So take some time to focus on brain health. Your brain gets stimulated through learning and creativity, as well as physical exercise. If you've been feeling like you're not being challenged, you should consider taking up a new hobby or learning a new skill or language. Exercises involving hand-eye coordination, such as drawing or coloring, are also great brain workouts. So also, the moon is in 6% perigee. That means it's close to apogee, so its effects may feel more subtle than usual. And that's when it's at its top and lowest points. You may feel more clear-headed, and your reaction should be less emotional. That's really good for those our Cancer brethren out there who are greatly affected by the moon, because their zodiac house is ruled by the moon. Reminds me, I was just texting with an uncle who is a triple Cancer, meaning he is a rising sign Cancer, sun sign Cancer, and moon sign Cancer. And boy, does he love the moon. I hope he's out there shaking his butt somewhere on a dance floor right now. It's a little early, but chances are he's probably doing it. So if you guys haven't already set your intentions, it'd be a great time, because the actual moon does not come full till 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. So the sun is in Sag, or Sagittarius, and the moon is opposite in Gemini. So you kind of get some light into the Gemini energies, which is all about the mind. And it's a dual. It's also an air sign. So this is a great time, probably the most perfect time to set intentions, because we get the eclipse, which is the loss of light, and the beginning of light all at the same. You'll get them both, and that is a very powerful creative tool. And just like when we started the show, we started on 11/11 at 11/11, and we did 2 shows the first day. That's because those were powerful times to put intention out to the universe. And so just like that, I hope that if you get a chance tonight, even if you just jot down some things, generally you want to set your intentions on the new moon and then carry them through the full moon, and then you get to burn them. And if you wrote them down. When I say burn them, you get to burn them and set them, and then watch them to come to fruition. And the burning is the whole idea of letting it go. So one of the rules to manifest is actually let it go. So that reminded me of something while I was thinking about that, while I was sitting here waiting for everybody to show up, was in the book of Genesis. So not getting religious, I'm just going to quote the very first parts of Genesis, because in my opinion, the very first parts of, clearly, first off, Genesis means creation. So it's a book talking about creating. Well, that's what manifesting is. And I think it's a perfect outline of what human beings or man should do when they want to manifest something. And I also like the term aligning, because, you don't necessarily have to manifest. You don't have to force energies. You don't have to will anything into existence. You can change your own frequency and attract as well. So that's a whole nother tool. Sometimes people use those terms interchangeably, the manifesting and aligning or attracting. They are each one just a little bit different, but, so in the beginning, there was God, and he was with the Word. So listen, I know there's different Bibles, but what it says is he was with the Word, and what that denotes is language or thought, and he was thinking, and then he created the heaven and the earth, or the heaven and the firmament. That is his thought, and then the physical world. Then he brought things forth, which was that he created light. So all of these things, we're bringing things into the light right now with Word. And then he said it was day, and then he called it, said that it was day, and said that it was good. Saying that it is good is gratitude. He was grateful for it. So he expressed word, language. He spoke it into being and existence. He thought about it. He brought it into reality, which means he took action. Then he created day. Then he created the animals. Then he created the oceans. Then he created the stars and the night. And that's how he created night. And then on the seventh day, he rested. He let it go. So again, the reason I brought that up was not to get religious or to bring any particular sect of religion into this. It was just simply that I think it's a really good outline for creation, is that we need, from a thought, then we put it into either writing or spoken word, or both. Better yet, do both. And we take that intention, and then once we get clear on what it is that we want, we write it down, or we speak it out loud and speak it into existence, or feel it into existence. And then, when I say into existence, it may or may not be there yet, but you believe that it is, and you act like it is. I like to say, act as if, and the universe will act accordingly. So once you do that, the key that a lot of people, I find, trip over, and I have tripped over myself, is then we sit there and hold on to that over and over and over again. And we're like, all right, where's my thing? Where's my thing? How come I don't have my thing? And then you start to worry, like, oh, well, if it's not here, I'm not going to get it. I'm not getting any signs. Everybody else has got it, but how come I don't have these new kicks or that new car, or I need a job change, or, hey, I'm hungry, I need some money. The key is letting it go. And you can take it as rest if you like, but letting it go is what allows the universe to respond. While you're still holding the frequency of trying to manifest, align, or attract, you're changing, and you might decide that you want something by the end of it. And that's kind of how the universe works. Again, there's no law. There's no, I've heard people write books and say, well, there's 7 laws of manifesting. Well, guess what? A law means that everybody in the world all agrees that it's the same thing, and doesn't matter what day it is, it's going to be the same thing and have the same results. Well, nobody has the same results. So we can't call this a law. But what I can tell you is that I personally have had quite a bit of experience with it, and I have had wonderful results. And I wasn't getting wonderful results as long as I was sitting there holding on to it, wondering where it was, and just spending all my time thinking about whatever the thing or experience that I was waiting to come into my life. Like this show even, or even the name of this company, like all of that came to me through using the law of attraction. Even this, most of what I do to create clothing, create things in my business. I would tell you, I like to say that I'm dumb. I know nothing. I just get still, kind of meditate, or let go of what's in my mind and think of an end result. and ask my thoughts or my brain to attract me to the thing that I'm being attracted to. And then all of the thoughts that need to attach me to that come to me. So that's kind of what I do in that sense. And, but again, I didn't have a lot of results in manifesting or, attracting more than simple things. Like when I say simple things, I mean like the color purple. I need the color purple in my life. Well, I could manifest the heck out of the color purple. I could make the number 27 show up just about anywhere. It's, it's just one of those things that, I had some success with, in the book, The Secret, they talk about manifesting a cup of start simple with a cup of coffee or a parking spot. Well, I got parking spots and I own a coffee company. So I got all the free coffee I want, except I don't drink coffee anymore. So, but that's the gist, it's like you start to get the things, they start to show up in plethora, but it wasn't until I let them go. And sometimes letting go means you've changed your mind and you've decided that you want something else, or that's not the thing that you want. And this is why in manifesting, I have to say the most critical, most important part is being 100% clear about what you would like to manifest, what you would like to show up in your life, what you would like to see, what you would like to experience, what you would like to affect you. Because when it does show up, it's going to change your reality and it will change your life experience, which then can also change the life experience of people around you that you affect, like family, friends, close personal friends. Let's see. Wait, you own a coffee company. How did I miss that? Well, guess what? The company's called Awake and Aware. It's Awake and Aware Coffee. So how did you miss that? Well, we won't even get into that. I think it's on my sleeve. There we go. Yeah. I guess this is the opportunity where I get to plug my own company on my show. I'm not selling you guys anything, but I have 19 of the top 20 coffees in the world. Organic coffees from all over the world, the top flavors, 19 of the 20. There's the 20th I don't particularly care for. It's hard to source, and it's not always a sustainable coffee. And so we just choose not to sell it. It's from an island in the Pacific, very well known, but we just don't happen to sell it because we can't get it the way we like to get it. But we're coming soon. We had totally intended to launch this week, and be totally live. We are live. We are taking small orders. But one of the reasons that, let's see, Amanda said, I thought Awake and Aware was just you, like the life you are manifesting. I'm going to need to order coffee now. Love it. Thank you. So also have tea and supplements too, but I'll get into that much later. But one of the things that kind of slowed us down this year, obviously COVID was a big deal, kind of slowed our tea line down almost to a halt. One of our suppliers had a huge warehouse fire in England. So there's just been a bunch of hurdles. Then my mother had a couple she had a heart attack and she's been in the hospital a few times this year. So none of these things are setbacks. They've just been alignment to put me in what I like to call divine timing or divine ordering. Perfectly okay with that, but I will get you guys coffee here soon for the coffee drinkers and get you guys tea, because I have 300 flavors of tea. 300. Okay, that's enough about my business. Now, Awake and Aware, Amanda, is the definition of consciousness. Consciousness means to be awake and aware of one's surroundings. And that's where the name comes from. And my life is now devoted to not only living consciously, but helping other people not to gain consciousness, but how to sustain consciousness once you're there. Because I think we all find it and sporadically throughout our lives, even before we fully come to this state. But we find that we have family, we have old habits, we have politics, we have all kinds of things that show up in our life that can deter us. We have pain bodies, like Eckhart Tolle likes to talk about, if an accident or when we're in a state of lack. These are things that can really take us and rock us and shake us out of our high vibrational stuff, that high frequency, the wavy vibes, when a lot of people like to, when you're in the flow, Esther Hicks likes to refer to it as the vortex. And for me, I tend to call it when you're in the flow state, or like when everything's just clicking on all cylinders. There's all different kinds of names for it. So, full moon, great tool for manifesting. One of the things that I could recommend, if you're just getting started, you got a few hours in the evening before you go to bed, is I highly recommend getting a journal or a piece of paper and a pen and writing down some intentions for yourself coming up in this. So we've got 2 months left in the year, 1 month left in the year. And you've got some intentions to close out this year with. That could be wonderful. Now, they don't need to be huge. They could be simple. I have a friend who has a medical condition, and in our discussion, we talked about how organic food would greatly help her with her medical condition. And for when you don't eat organic all the time, it may sound like an overwhelming, insurmountable task to take on to change your entire diet. Trust me, I know, because I'm in the state of switching from meat eating to mostly vegetarian for maybe the 5th time in my life. And it's I don't want to say it's a struggle, but it does have a slope. It does take some effort. It does take some energy to get there. So, start small if you feel frisky and you're used to manifesting and you're used to working goals in your life and setting intentions, go big. This is the end of 2020. We all know that this was an energy year for change, and look, it's changed the world. Now, face value in the physical world, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. In the spiritual world, man, there's a lot of people coming to light, enlightenment, and, really getting to know themselves. I really got to know myself this year, and I'm super grateful for that. Got to see how I was going to handle some problems, how I was treating some people in my life that I thought I was treating better than I was, especially, and that's my mother, 100%. How my health is working out. And some of this has been a break too. Like there's been a little bit of time allotment with the pandemic to spend some time working on myself, my shadow self, my whole self, my light self. And I'm super grateful for that. So during the show today, I'm going to take some calls. I do want to mention that just so you guys who have won some clothing from me, a couple guys won, not these shirts, but a different shirt in the first 2 episodes. Just want to let you know those are, their time is a little bit slower because of shipping, because of COVID times, but they're out there. They will get to you. So you'll be able to rock wavy with the Awake and Aware Matrix logo. We got all kinds of cool gear. Like it's conscious, man. Like it's holographic. It just keeps flowing and being created, and we're creating as fast as we can attract it from the universe. And we're going to be sharing it here with you guys. Like this, the 3 flame logo here, the violet flame logo, which is over here. I think you guys are really going to like that. It's just a conscious statement. We have some Philosopher's Stone gear. We have the 143 line, which is I love you, is the universe saying I love you. Mr. Rogers used to say that, it's 143 and I love you. And then he would break out into a song. I love me some Mr. Rogers, man. Totally love me some Mr. Rogers. A guy could do no wrong. Let's get a little background music in here. Let's see what we got going on. Oh, I like this song. I don't speak that language, but anyhow, I like to have a little background music. It kind of takes the edge off, takes a little stress off my voice talking through this heavy microphone and this deep voice. So some of the things I want to talk about is a few other things I want to talk about is paradigm shifts. I want to talk about deductive and inductive reasoning because they came up in a lengthy conversation that I had earlier today with a very smart individual that I just recently met. It was a great conversation, but it was all about logic and how we view logic and how it can be perceived different from different angles and different people. And then also I want to talk about communication and the power of communication in manifesting, the power of communication in aligning, and the power of using communication with each other. So Before I get to those topics, um, let's take a call. Let's see if somebody's willing to call in. And so, as usual, it's first caller that comes in. I have a special prize for you guys. I will, if you can make it in. If you make it in, you make it in. Great. But the prize this week is going to be that I do a full birth chart and a full, numerology chart. And when I say full, I mean sometimes these things get up to about 160 pages long. So, if you don't know your sun sign, you don't know your rising sign, you don't know your moon sign, you don't know what your 10th house is or your 6th house is, or you don't know what your numerology numbers are, what your life path number is, what your heart's desire is, what your 7-year cycles are, what your 14-year cycle, your 21, your 28, all the way out until way past your expected life expectancy. I will do that for you. I can even tell you about a lover. I can tell you about multiple lovers. I can tell you about your pets. So something that I used to do and I still do from time to time when I have time and for close personal friends. But I will do a full birth chart, which comes with my personal artwork as well. And that will come out to a first caller. So we got an incentive. Let's see what we got here. I wonder if this is spam. It says unknown caller. Good evening. Welcome to Awake and Aware. Who do I have on the phone?
Wow. This is Beth Venditti.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Well, welcome to Awake and Aware. You are live on the show with us, and you just won yourself a full birth chart, full natal birth chart, worked up by me, and a numerology chart. Hey, very cool.
Well, that is very nice and convenient because I have to be honest. I missed the. Sorry, my dogs are barking.
No worries.
The beginning of the show, and I forgot that you'd be on, and then I jumped on, and immediately you said, "Okay, we're going to take a call."
Awesome. I think that is so sometimes that is exactly how the universe works. I have been blessed with things like that, and apparently you are too, and we're blessed to have you. So since you missed the first part of the show, no worries. So I'll just run down what we're talking about. We've got new people joining us too. So we are talking about the full moon, the eclipse, the powers of the full moon, the full moon in Gemini, and using that as a manifestation technique, and also using that for setting intentions. And then we're talking about paradigm shifts. Some people call them aha moments. That's what the I was trying to make an aha moment in the thumbnail for the show today. Boy, I love technology. I get text and calls on everything. My watch, my computer. My glass of water is not vibrating. Should put a crystal in there. Maybe it will. And then we're talking about deductive and inductive. We haven't gotten to talking about deductive and inductive reasoning yet, and logic. And then communication as a tool for manifesting. And then we were talking about using the tool of letting go as a manifesting tool. So
that's the tricky one, isn't it?
Right. So any of those topics resonate with you?
Absolutely. Actually, today I was driving and I had an aha moment. It was like it hit me. Maybe a manifestation. I'm not sure what it is yet. But it was very big for me, and I guess I could attest it to the full moon because big things happen.
Very much so. Have you seen Have you seen the full moon yet?
Oh, I did. It's absolutely beautiful.
Nice. I saw it yesterday, where it wasn't full. So I could. So most astrologists are very strict, is like the timing that the full moon becomes full, because it's only for a brief moment. It actually, I don't know the exact amount of time, but I think you got maybe 10 minutes for it to actually be fully
Right.
full.
Yeah. I
And
think
then
it's
it's
just a few minutes.
right. Exactly. So, but I can feel the effects the day before and the day after, period. Like it's just it's totally there. It totally affects me, affects my sleep patterns and my energy levels. And so, it's very cool to see. I don't know if I'm going to go out and try to stay up this morning till 4 a.m. To see the eclipse. So we also have a lunar eclipse. And I was earlier talking about how when the moon's in eclipse or the sun's in eclipses, we go from a moment of light to dark, or from a moment of dark to light. And three-dimensional light, things that are three-dimensional have length, width, and depth. And when we use the moon as a mirror to ourselves, and I mean light from the sun to the moon, reflecting down to us, we're feeling that energy in like a triangular form. And the triangle is kind of the key to manifesting, is to have the idea, to put it out there, and then to let go.
So what are your techniques for letting go?
Very, very good. So my favorite, if I'm doing a full moon, I call it ritual. Some people have problems with the word ritual, but ritual just means repetition, something that you do over and over again. Right. So if I do a ritual, I always write things down. And I tend to not write it in my most pristine journal. I'll write it in something that I can tear the page out on, or a nice piece of parchment paper or something like that, because I intend to burn it. That's one of the things that I do. So if I've written it down, I will burn it. I will put it in. I have a little brass bowl that I burn sage and Palo Santo in. And that's the main thing that I do. But that's not my everyday manifesting technique. What I do is I'm a visualizer. I can visualize anything. The being upside down, no gravity, walking through time. Like I just have that imagination that just has no limits. And so I tend to, same thing, imagine that I'm burning it and that it's on fire, and then that the soot or the crumbs are flying off into the universe and being accepted into the universe. And that the universe, it's being absorbed in. And that's my letting go process.
And is it easy for you, once you've done that, to maintain that level of freedom from it, or do you find yourself returning to it?
Great question.
And holding on to it again?
It depends on how badly I feel. So first off, if you feel like you want it and you're still in the state of wanting it, you're not in the state of manifesting it yet. Right. Want is a byproduct of not having. It's a state of lack. Manifesting is about already being in line and knowing that it's there. I like to spend some time before I let go, meaning I don't just think about it and throw it out to it depends on what it is. If it's a sandwich, sure. But if I'm trying to get that new BMW 333i convertible M series black with the red leather that goes, 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, has 8 miles per gallon. The gas tank is on the left-hand side, has digital red amber gauges, a hood scoop, a spoiler, rear to camper.
You've definitely thought this
right, through. Exactly. So I can spend, but I don't want a BMW. I'm just throwing that out there because I have spent the time looking into it, because I wanted to know everything about it. I wanted to know where it came from. I know that the steering wheel is made in South Carolina. I know the seat covers are made in Germany. These are actually the steering wheel and the seat liners are both made in South Carolina. Everything else is made in Germany. So I have a technique where I not only visualize myself with the thing or the experience, I like to feel the experience, the thing. And then I also like to have experiences with the thing. So I would then visualize myself maybe driving the car or gassing up the car or washing the car or getting down on my knees and cleaning out the little spots on the rims. These are things that you would do with your car, or I mean, I do, vacuuming the trunk.
I don't do that, but okay.
Well, it helps as a mech. It's just all it is a construct. It's just a mechanism to help yourself create more. As we think, we create matter. It just is. It's energy. So as we think, we're actually creating matter. I like to bring in the scientific as well as the metaphysical. As we think, we create matter. And that matter exists in reality in the universe. It doesn't trail us around, but this is called string theory. Those strings behind us are vibrating energy, and they are attracting and they are attached to us. And that's how when we have a thought, we attract to us as these strings they're not actually strings, but they're just energy lines that are connected to us in the thoughts that we have. And that's what when we say frequency. Mm-hmm.
So when I let's say you want that BMW and you've really figured out every little detail of it, and you've decided that that's what you want. I know you said that's not what you want, but let's just say that
I got it though. That's
okay. So but once you visualize it, how do you let it go?
So
this is something I struggle with.
So
I'm very good at manifesting after I forget about it, and I forgot I ever
wanted. So that's a powerful tool right there. Is just if you can forget about it. It's very much like often when we fall into meditation, it wasn't on purpose. You're sitting there, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're gone, or boom, there's action, or boom, you forgot where you're at, or boom, you're re-waking up. So it's kind of like that. So sometimes, and that's where getting into your life's flow, well, it can help you to forget it. That's probably the absolute best way to forget it. Another thing that happens is this is what happened with me with the BMW. Is I went to the BMW dealership. I was going to sign on the dotted line to get it, and I never knew about those amber lights on the inside. The whole dashboard was red. Well, I don't wear very much red. It's just not my favorite color. So to have to sit in a cockpit of a car and see red all the time would make me like a bull. I would become that dreaded butthole driver on the road in the BMW. Maybe that's why they're all buttholes, just because they're staring at red all day long. I said it. I don't own a BMW. I can say it. But so I chose a different German car. I bought a car from the BMW dealership in its steed, roughly the same price as the car that I was going to buy. So, and I got a different car. And it had all the things that I wanted, except for those red gauges. But it was not a BMW. I bought a Volkswagen. So it is what it is. But my point, the letting go was, one, I was tested with something else. And often you will manifest things that are very similar to the thing that you've been wanting or desiring. And it's not a test. The universe doesn't test us, but for all intents and purposes, we can call it a test. I was being tested. I chose a different car at the very last step. I like this analogy is we often trip on the first step and the last step. Those are the two that usually kind of throw us off our manifesting game. The first step is just getting started, getting clear about what you want. Most people will stop trying to manifest when they're like, I don't really know what I want. Or when they realize trying to manifest that Bentley and they can't afford the $6,000 a month in insurance, well, they might need to manifest the right income to begin with. So hang on just a second for me. Crisis averted. I had not plugged in my laptop, and I'm zooming live with all the software running, and that would have been great. It would have just said so I'm glad that I saw that notification and the cord was right there. I was prepared. So letting go, there's a few different techniques, but I find that the best one is to there's a guy, I hate to almost butcher his last name because I don't, I can't, but he's known as the quantum alchemist. And he has a documentary. He is a theoretical quantum physicist who works for, I don't remember the exact university he works for. I want to say it's Neil Arshitagawa. I'm sure I'm butchering his last name. I often do. I apologize. But he had said, in using a manifesting technique, he said that it's a little do, it's a little be, it's a little do. And the do is the whole manifesting that we're doing. And then all the things that we're doing, the feeling, the sensing, the intent, setting the intentions, the writing it down. And then the being is letting it all go. Like just not being, I want this, I need this. And then it's moving on with your life. Or if you really want to get clear of it, like you're having trouble, like immediately after doing all this, getting clear of it, meditate. Seems like the right answer for most things, doesn't it?
It is.
So also the thing is letting it go for its right time. Another thing that really comes into the whole idea of letting go is that if you're not aligned with it, it's sitting in a state of limbo waiting to get to you because you really don't want it. Like, and when I say don't want it, like you don't desire it, you think you do. But some of these things that we try to manifest will totally mess up our lives. And when I say mess up our lives, they will, and you're not, we don't like change. We really don't. We fear it. We worry about it, and we try to hold on to things and keep them just the way they are. Once we get something and it's flowing good and we like this, oh man, I don't want to go back to square one. Oh man, I don't want to have less. Well, sometimes it's necessary to get the things that you want. And that's part of the reality that is becoming the buffer that is between what you desire, the experience, the love of your life, the wealth, the money is, if you're in a state of lack and you're struggling to pay anything, first off, you're struggling to change to let go of lack. I hate to say it, but it's a true statement. Yeah. And I know we all have to, well, we don't all have to do anything. People can live in any state that they want to. But if you'd like to receive abundance, prosperity, wealth, to be in a thriving state, you have to let go of the suffering state. You have to let go. It's not that it's not a good thing or that it is even a bad thing. It's just right, they don't exist at the same. Right. Ooh, habits.
It's what you know, right? If it's all you ever knew, it's hard to let it go, regardless of whether it's serving you or not.
Right.
Definitely a struggle for most people. I think they think they want something. I'm sure they do want it. They have a strong desire, but they also have never experienced it, and they're comfortable where they are, like even if it's not comfortable to be wherever it is, if you're broke, there's still a level of comfort there because you know it.
For sure. Absolutely. So if you're working to attract and you are not in alignment with the thing and your habits don't align with it. See, the thing about our habits, they're the things we like to, we've said, I like to do. It doesn't matter if it's a bad habit. Why do you think people smoke cigarettes? Like, it's horrible addiction. And like, there's no true positive about it at all. Like it almost doesn't even really make you feel good. Like you're just become so accustomed to feeling bad that you think that feels good. It's right. I smoked for 25 years, so no shade at anybody. And it literally is you become, not just accustomed to it, not just accepting it. But
it becomes part of who you are. Like
yes,
you identify with it.
I said to a friend the other day, it's not my words, but, I was reminded of, Our thoughts create our words create our actions, our actions create our habits, and our habits create our reality or our life or our, actually, I think it was originally said as your destiny. Your habits become your destiny. And it's no true. All the hurdles that I have in life are still based on the habits that I have. And some are good or
Yeah, that's
some
how
are
it is
bad.
for everyone.
Well, the funny thing too is some of the habits that we build may have served us at a past time when we were younger, or when we were growing up in a faster paced environment, or if you lived on the streets or worked on, or worked in a fast paced environment. Being short with people may serve you if you're. I used to bartend. A lot of people know I used to bartend in nightclubs, and I mean, I would get 20, 30 drink orders at a time, sometimes from 6 different people, but sometimes one people would come up with 10 different drink orders at a time, and I had to just be short with people. I didn't have time to, how you doing? I wasn't the type of bartender that could sit there and schmooze somebody or talk magic tricks or talk about the game when things were going like this. So I had to be very, yep. I wouldn't even talk most of the time. I just point at people like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And,
Yeah.
So it's a different, but moving on to bartending in a restaurant, I realized those skills didn't translate. That I had to
Right.
just,
They no
I had
longer
to
serve
come
you.
exactly. So it's the same thing. Our habits sometimes serve us. I've seen where people use cigarette smoking to cope with something, a loss or something painful happened in their life, and they use that, and they use it as a crutch, and then they become accustomed to it. I know people who have bad relationships, know they're bad relationships, but don't want to change because they fear the unknown. So they take what's comfortable to them. And comfortable is
Oh,
just
yeah.
what normally happens. So these are bad habits that we have to know. Like if you're in a bad relationship and you're trying to manifest $1 million, what's that going to do to your relationship that you're so struggling to hold? You're going to get free. If you're in a bad, you're going to do everything you can to be like, I'm not here in the morning when that person wakes up. I'm on a yacht somewhere, or I'm off buying my new car. Well, that's the reality of, that's the thing holding you back. Sometimes it is a relationship. And
Right.
that's one of the struggles of coming into a consciousness, coming into a high frequency state or high vibrational state, is sometimes we have issues with relationships, where one person is, I don't want to say saying stagnant, but they're just operating at a different frequency. If I tune into channel 6, I don't get channel 12, period. So it's very
Right.
much the same thing. Hi, Tish. Glad you're here. So yeah, I think getting good, resetting our habits. Now, the beauty of habits is that we can reprogram them. Most people think they're like, I hear people all the time say, oh, that's just me. That's just the way I am. I'm programmed that way, or I've been that way
Yeah, but
forever.
nothing is just you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's learning that nothing is just you. Like you can be anything and you can be any way. Like you don't, the way you were today, or even if it was the past 50 years, that does not have to be how you are tomorrow.
Yes. I like to say, I know 3 things in the universe. 1, that I know nothing. 2, that I know less and less every day. And 3, the only constant in the universe is change. And if you want to
Mm-hmm.
be a master manifester, you must be acceptant, embrace, like, and be grateful for change, period.
Yeah.
Because that's what manifests. You are trying to change your situation. You are trying to change your reality. You are trying to change lack into wealth. You are trying to change sickness into health. You are trying to change no opportunity into opportunity. These are things that that's what manifests is. Basically, it's just the desire to transmute something with the same energy that exists in your reality, without having to get up, go to work, and chop wood, carry water for 50 years to pay for that one car that you wanted when you were 20. But
Right.
now you have it when you're 60, and really all you need is a walker. That's not fair.
Right.
Nobody needs a walker at 60. That was not nice of me to say that at all, because I'm gonna be 60 someday soon, and I definitely don't need a walker. I'm still going with that BMW.
a different BMW.
So this is
Blue
a
lights inside.
right. So this is a great opportunity. I wanted to talk about communication and manifesting, and I think this is the perfect opportunity within you and I in the community right now, and bringing up communication. So, I for many years struggled with not struggled. I just didn't know. I was just blatantly outright wrong in what I thought communication was. I just thought it was, I'm talking and I need you to understand me. I thought that was communication.
Yeah.
And I thought that,
it's a form of it.
well, that's mostly just passing information.
Yeah.
And then the problem is you would expect anybody you're in a relationship with to just, oh yeah, we communicate all the time. Yeah. I'm telling her what I want, how I want things to be, or the change that I expect, or I'm leaving with ultimatum. That's not communicate. That's the communications that I thought that I thought I was having. It wasn't until I took a communications college and really in college, boy, I just jumbled a whole word and sentence together. I love it.
Somehow I understood it anyway.
So did I. I mean, it sounded good, but I had to catch myself. I realized, whoa, that was not even a word. So, community college. Yeah, right. Exactly. Community. I guess I was trying to say community college. I studied a communications class in college, and it was actually in the book. It wasn't the lecture. It was just really deeply rooted in there. And they define communication as information or an idea imparting from one party to another. But that's information. Communication happens when the party that received it paraphrases back that information to the originator, and then the originator agrees that person understands that idea.
Ooh.
If they don't understand, then they find the originator will find a new way to deliver the message or change the message to start all over again until the other person can paraphrase it back to the person's agreeance that the second party or multiple parties have understood the meaning of the idea.
Right.
So communication
without that understanding.
Exactly.
Right.
Starts and originates with the or starts and ends with the originator.
How about that?
So, and of course, can you imagine how many relationships are always, oh yeah, we communicate all the time, but have never once paraphrased their ideas back. So a lot of times in the community, we say mirroring back, what somebody said back to you, says to you. And it's not some people use it as a manipulation tactic, but that's not at all how we mean it. If somebody said, I'm going to go to the store to get some food. Well, and then you were to say, okay, so you're going to the store to get some food. That person, most people would just say, okay, yeah, you understood exactly what I meant, but that's not the case. Because if you live in a different country, the store can be the pantry. That means going to the kitchen. Now the average person knows but what store? Are you going to a restaurant? Are you going to a grocery store? So a person may, in that paraphrasing, say, oh, are you going to the grocery store? And that person say, no, I'm going to, the gas station and get snacks. This is where communication and understanding come from, is that paraphrasing. So a lot can be left out in the initial person's information about their idea that they're trying to convey to their partner. So a reason for bringing that up and getting in depth in the definition of communication is how to use it as a manifesting tool. How can we use communication with other people to help manifest for ourselves and them? And this is a term that that I absolutely love, is called co-creating. And that's when we get together with like-minded people and we use our abilities and we use our energy fields and our frequency and our vibration, and we share in the creation or sometimes the speeding up, but help each other to get into the vortex or the flow and help each other manifest, because it happens more rapidly when the more people are manifesting, the more rapidly it happens. It just, that's not necessarily always true. I hate to say that because time it's an illusion. The more powerful the attraction force is, Let's put it that way, because it still may show up in its own exact time. But the force is definitely, it's not just doubled, it's doubled. It's exponential. And then even when you add a third person in, it's even more exponential because it's flowing backwards and forwards, and in masculine and feminine, the energy flows in both directions. And each one of those is a conduit for manifesting. Um, so if a person, and I would give an example, and then maybe we can just roll. I appreciate you calling in, and you had no clue that this was coming. So it's, but it's perfect is if you'd role play with me for just a second.
Sure.
If you wanted to manifest, I'm going to tell you that I have some desires, and I would like for you to, now I'm not going to be 100% clear as most people are. I want to see if you can derive what I mean specifically about what I'm offering you about my desires and what I would like to come to fruition in my reality. Um, and I want you to see if now I'm not going to say I'm going to be vague, but I'm going to not just spell out what it is in my head that I actually want. I'm going to speak like most people do. I'm going to take some liberties, and maybe you can figure it out, maybe you can't. But the beauty is you have the ability to ask qualifying questions, you have the ability to paraphrase, and you have the ability to mirror back to me, and then I would actually help you hone down, which we can do very, very quickly. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out process, and then get clear about it. But then what happens is when you get clear, you now have the picture of what I want, and you are now helping me create what it is. But again, the first step of manifesting is getting clear about people's, and if you're trying to have somebody else co-create with you, if they're not clear, then they're actually just muddling the
Right.
mixture. They're breaking up the frequency, and they are becoming a resistant state to get actually what it is that you want.
Right. Okay.
So, let me just take a second, um, and let me just come up with a good analogy. Um, Beth, I want to be famous. I want to be really, really famous.
Hmm. Wow.
Can you help me with
Okay.
that?
So you want to
Can
be,
you help me to get famous, Beth?
do you want to be famous for something in particular?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Yes.
Is it, um, do you want to be a singer?
No, I can't sing a lick. I would love to be a singer, but I don't have a
Hmm.
talent. I could maybe spend all the time in the world learning to, but no, that is not what I want to be famous for.
Hmm. Would you like to be famous for something that you have a talent for?
Yes, actually, I would.
All right. What is that talent?
Storytelling.
Hmm.
So,
Okay. Would you like to,
mhm.
yes?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're on it. Keep going.
Okay. Would you like to tell stories to children?
No, no. So let me stop you for a
No.
second, because here I'd like to show you how to speed this up when you're doing this with somebody, because you can ask all the questions, but rather than ask all the questions, you can just mirror back to the person to have them tell you. Like, you don't have to struggle to get from somebody else. What you really want to do is you, as the co-creator, um, want to get clear, but you realize you can't create a clear picture in your mind to say, you don't know exactly what it is that I want. So you could very easily say, I need you to be more specific. I need you to be more specific
Okay.
because I can't create a clear picture in my mind of what it is that you would like. So help me with that.
That's right.
That was a wonderful thing, is to not be afraid of getting into somebody's head. Cause like, especially when it comes to somebody wants something and you're there to help them and you're using your brain space and your energy. Yeah, absolutely. That person should be very clear. Now, if you want to just
Mm.
take the lead there and just go ahead, drill me, like, or don't be afraid, grab me by my shirt and let me know you need more information.
Okay, Nick. So I understand that you would like to be famous for your storytelling I need more information.
Okay,
Can you be
so
more specific?
I have written a couple of books, and I have yet to have them published yet. And my intention is to publish them, but I am at a state of whether I should do a screenplay first and then write the book, or not even worry about writing the book and make one of them a movie. I really have intentions of turning it into a movie. I'm not clear whether or not I should write the book first or publish the book first or change it and write it into a screenplay.
Mm.
But I'd like to be famous for either one. And
Okay.
so now, as you say that, it brings me into realization that actually I don't want to be famous. I want those. I want people to see those stories or hear those stories or read those stories and enjoy them as much as they titillated me inside of my mind and just gave me complete joy fleshing out characters and writing them.
Mm. Yeah, that's actually really cool.
See, I didn't even know that. Like I did, and just in the, as I said that in this exercise, even though it was fictitious, was very real for me. And if I'm famous, great, but I don't, all the famous people I've ever met all say the same thing. It's not the key to happiness. It's nice at first, but then when you can't go to the grocery store with your family or people are hassling your family, it's not particularly what I'd like to sign up for. But I would like to, have this wonderful movie that I have written in my head and on paper and share it with the world because I think people would enjoy it.
Yeah, and I would say about, when you're deciding if it should be a book or a movie initially, follow what gives you joy the most when you think about it.
So I would then say, so now I can refine that. And so now is where the paraphrasing comes in. It says, so Nick, I think that you want to manifest a story, whether it's in book or have you written, I would say, have you written the book? Okay. So you've written the book. Well, then obviously you start there. If not, your next step is to write the screenplay. If you feel like it's the other one and you haven't done that yet, then why do you want to manifest the movie if you haven't even written the screenplay? But
yeah, that's actually right.
So, and the reason for the role playing of this was not to flesh out my dreams. It was to point out that the average person, when they say what they want or what they desire, what they're manifesting, they're not clear. They're not clear to the point of what it means to them, what the potential, the reality is, what the reality down the. So if you're trying to help them manifest, I mean, unless it's a bologna sandwich or a cup of coffee or a parking spot, like you don't need to think about that. You already know what that entails for that person. Oh, we want to park closer next to the building. So yeah, that's it. You don't even need to say anything to think about. You can let it go because now you're looking for the parking spot. But when it comes to dealing with co-creating in people's lives, it's very important to get, otherwise you're not manifesting, you're manipulating their energy and it becomes resistant. You're not creating the same thing. Like how many times where somebody will give you what what they think you need versus what you really need or what you want or what you think you want. That's somebody co-creating in your reality. Parents are really good at that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Dad, if I just had that shiny bicycle with the pegs and the donut spin around handles and the GT on it, the one that costs $600, I will be the coolest kid on the block. Yeah. Well, he wants to get you a bike, but he wants to spend $45. And that's what you're going to wind up with because he's not trying to help you live your flashiest life. He's trying to help you have a bike and learn how to be a kid and get from point A to point B at your friend's house without having to bug him for a ride every 10 minutes. So his creation is not it's not in alignment. But now if at the point in time he wanted to help you be the flashiest kid on the block, he would say, you know what? I don't have that kind of money today, but guess what? Go get a paper route and I'll match you for such and such over the next, and then we'll get you that flashiest bike. That's somebody who's down to co-create with you. That's the difference between what most people do is they're like, all right, I got you. Here's a bike. And they just keep trying to give you things, or what about this, or what about that, and none of it's right because it's not what you're seeking. So in getting clear, no, I don't need to be famous. I would like for my book or my screenplay to be successful. Obviously, there'll probably be some kind of fame, but maybe not. Maybe I'm obscure.
Yeah, and then getting clear with me, you got clear with yourself.
Yes, exactly. And that's 100% why communication, the tool of communication, is a powerful technique when it comes to creating and co-creating. Clearly, the funny thing is we can communicate with ourselves, but it's not as potent as communicating with others. Now, here's the beauty: is clearly as I'm sitting here in this community, the Wake and Aware community, and there are people on the show and they're listening to my desires, et cetera, et cetera. People are now in their brain and in their mind. I'm like, oh, he's got a book. I wonder what it's about, et cetera. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. It's okay. But their subconscious is definitely processing it. And guess what? You guys all created strings in your creation, in your mind, and which is all connected through all of us, through my voice, through your mind. And, it's now the force is, I love it. The force is now stronger with this one. It's great considering we have.
I actually use that with my kids.
Love it.
That's what we call, law of attraction. We call it the force.
Oh, I love that. Totally love that. Especially with all the Star Wars stuff that's going. Well, the Mandalorian. We might as well get it right because there ain't nothing going on with Star Wars right now. So, do you have any questions, Beth, or anything, any concerns or anything that you've been thinking about? I know that you mentioned that you were having some issues letting go.
Yeah, that seems to always be. So I can tell you that throughout my life, throughout my life, I've gotten everything I've wanted. It's just like almost magical. Like whatever I want, I've gotten. And it wasn't until I learned about the law of attraction that I put two and two together and said, like, wow, I really did. I wanted that. I talked about wanting that, or I thought about it a lot. And then a couple years later, here it is in my living room. And, and that's been the way it is throughout my life. Like I bought a car but it wasn't the car I really wanted. It was the car I could afford. And so I had envisioned the car that I really wanted. And then the next car that I got just happened to be the one I really wanted. And it wasn't even on purpose. I didn't go out looking for it.
Wow.
And I mean, I went out looking for a car, but the one that I could afford just happened to be the one that I wanted, severely on sale,
Wow.
So it worked out that way, but it's been that way my whole life. Whatever it is I want, I get. Now I find that now that I'm trying to manifest things more deliberately, sometimes I have no problem. But with some other things, I find that, like, last year I wanted to manifest $10,000. I didn't need $10,000, but I wanted to prove to myself that I could manifest $10,000. And this was about maybe September, October of last year. And I told people I was going to manifest $10,000, and then I forgot about it. The holidays came, I started doing whatever. In February, I got a check for $10,000. Now, I did not but it had to happen after I totally forgot. Is that really the only way? Do I have to completely forget that I ever asked for it?
Well, so I would say in your psyche, your expectation level is part of the blockage. And it's the way you think about $10,000, because 10,000, 10 million doesn't matter, but it's the amount of change that you're willing to go through to get $10,000. That's why you had to forget about it. It's because you thought in your head that you were going to have to go through something somewhere, somehow. You're still manipulating the manifestation. So when you detach from it, it has the ability to do whatever it's got to do. And it's going to take the path of least resistance. That's how energy works. It's going to take the path of least resistance to get to you. So as long as you're in a resistant state, and a resistant state is the state of manifesting. because you don't have it yet. That's why we say, as quickly as you can, get into the state of gratitude. Gratitude is the state of having. So you really want to quickly go from the intention phase, the getting clear phase, the narrowing it down and outlining phase, to then saying, this is it. And also we say, set a time frame. Did you set a time frame on that one for the 10K?
I feel like when I say I forgot about it, I really did. Like, I really forgot about it. And then it hit me like, oh my God, I was telling everybody I was going to manifest $10,000. Now I don't remember if I want to say I said by the end of the year, but
okay. And then it showed up in February,
remember.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
this is often what happens is often it's because you were disappointed that you didn't get it by the year and you let it go.
I mean, I don't remember feeling disappointed. In fact, I feel like I forgot about it before that happened.
Right. Okay. So maybe you didn't sit in the emotion of disappointment, but in forgetting it, listen, if you've got a large amount of money coming, you think you're going to forget about it? Like if you knew, you were getting $1 million check by December 31st, come January 1st, when it ain't there, you're knocking on somebody's door. You're making all kinds of, where's my check? Right. But you weren't doing that. That's what I mean by disappointment. Like you had basically allowed yourself to forget about it because you didn't expect it to come anymore. You'd let it go. That's really when I say didn't expect, you weren't expecting it anymore. And that's part of the letting go process is it's not about the expectation of it coming. That's what you did when you created the intention. It was created. It was real. The universe responded. Now your position is.
I would love for it to be like, for instance, one time I was at the store and I didn't bring my card. I only brought a couple dollars. It was just a corner store near my house. We went for a walk. And this is before COVID, I guess, because we just went for a walk to the store. But yeah, and I was short whatever my daughter wanted. I only had a couple dollars and we needed another like 75 cents or something. And we didn't have it. And I was like, okay, well, let's just manifest it. And then let me just tell you, somebody walked up and handed us that change.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. But I would love to be able to just do it like that. Say, okay, we're going to manifest this 75 cents that we need. Let's do it. And then how about it be $75,000 instead?
There you go.
How about that?
So to the universe, that neither one is different. They're just change.
Right. They're the same.
Right. But so if you had,
it's all the same.
If you had, if I gave you 75 cents, would it change your life that much?
No.
That's why it comes like that. If I give you $75,000, would that change your life in some kind of meaningful way?
It would.
So are you prepared to, if you have expectations that you're holding on to about how your day is going to be tomorrow, how you're going to feel about your day, the things you have to do, if you had 75 grand, you probably wouldn't do any of those things. So you are being resistant to the state that is the receiving of the $75,000 and what that would be afterwards. You're holding on to the state of you as of now. And that's where it comes into letting, I'm going to curse, be prepared, letting the fuck go.
Yeah, that's really the trick. That's really the trick. When there's something, I think I'm a little neurotic. And when there's something that I really want, it's hard for me sometimes. Sometimes it's easy. Like with that $10,000, somehow I just forgot about it. Even though I was sure I was going to manifest it, I just forgot about it.
Well, some of this, so in simple expectations, and the thing is like, so if I say I'm going to manifest $10,000 by tomorrow, I find that hard to believe myself because I'm like, well, how could it, I start to believe, well, how could it get to me? Maybe I got a check, maybe I got a bank error in the mail. And then if I think about a large sum of money, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want anybody to die. So where could that come? Publishers Clearinghouse. I don't play Publishers Clearinghouse. I don't enter in sweepstakes. Where could $1 million just show up from? Is it just going to fall out of a helicopter in the sky? Hell yeah, it can.
Hey, you never know.
Oh, listen, you know, we live near Philadelphia. All Philadelphians know the story of the $1 million that fell off the back of it. I think it was like $3 million that fell off the back of a truck. The guy got caught, but you know, anyway, he could have taken it. He could have gotten a reward and turned them, but it fell off the back of a truck. I have so many stories of manifesting. I would have to start another show of big things, large things, small things, absurd things. I remember being Sans truck once. My car, a friend had blew up the engine of my car. I just bought the car. And I was taking a taxi like 30 miles to work, which was eating up all my bread. And I was bartending, and, you know, on my best night, I made $400 and maybe $500 a night, but I was on average, I was making somewhere, about $300 a night. And then I was paying somewhere between $60 and $80 a taxi to get back and forth to work. So it was taking all my bread. And I just bought a car, so I spent all my savings on this car. And I bought it outright, bought the title, had owned the car, had done a little bit of work to it. And I had just taken a trip, and I needed a car. And I had my last vacation days I took. And when I came back from my vacation, my boss gave me a brand new truck. Well, it wasn't brand new. It was brand new to me. It was his old truck, and he just upgraded to a brand new truck. And he gave it to me. Like, he just showed up, said, come to my office. He said, give me $10. I was like, okay. I just happened to and listen, it was the last $10 I had in my pocket. So I was hesitant. Because he didn't tell me why. I was like, oh, why would I give this guy $10? Like, what is he going to get? He's probably going to give me something crappy that he thinks is cool. That's what I was thinking in my head. It's like, he's probably going to give me some candy or who knows what it is. But he was like, give me $10. And so I reached in my pocket and I had exactly $10, and I was for me to eat that day.
Of course you did.
And so I gave him $10, and he handed me a title, and I just remember I picked it up, I looked at it, and I read it, and my name was already on it. Like his secretary had already taken care of it.
Oh my God.
And I knew immediately which truck it was, and it was a big souped up Chevy truck, like the kind of dream truck that you would have in Georgia. This was in Augusta, Georgia. And I was just, you know, like, but I had taken the time that week to try to manifest something. And because I didn't know where I was, it's like, look, I need a car. I have no clue where it's going to come from. I don't have anything. I don't know how I'm like, if I have a short week, like if we have a bum night at work, I don't know how I'm getting to work tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to get home and back to work. That's where I was at that very day, that very day. So I went like 4 days with no tips, and because I was on vacation. And it was like my last days to take the vacation. So I took it the same day I came back. So yeah, the universe, but also I had no clue. I just put it out. It was almost like a prayer. And then the rest of that state was like, I didn't know where I was going to be at or what I was going to do. But I was saying to the universe, I'm open to however it's going to come to me. But I'd already put it out to the universe. I didn't know I wanted that truck. But that's part of the universe. It's like when we get very clear about things, the problem is we're not very clear about what we're willing to do to allow them into our lives, how we're going to receive them. We don't spend enough time in the receiving end as we do as the wanting, desiring end. And what I mean by that is I'm going to go back to the Bentley. If you want a Bentley, it's a $250,000 car. And insurance can be, depending on who you are, can be $6,000 a month. Now, if you live in a condo and live in a condo association and you pull up in a Bentley and you're the only Bentley driver in your neighborhood, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb, almost to the point where you're going to feel bad about yourself because everybody's going, look at that guy, you know, like, look, he's always showing off, you know, it's not going to be good energy. Yeah. You're going to have people who are kind of hating on you, for lack of a better word, because you're flashy. And they can't afford that. That car is the realm of some people's entire lifetime of working, saved. No taxes. Every single dollar being saved is in that car. And to some people, that's just a luxury that they could not even think about. So manifesting that is you don't recognize that you have to deal with it. Most people don't recognize that they have to deal with that type of reality if they want something, I don't want to say absurd, But if they want something that life-changing in their life, they have to recognize they're going to have to make the change. Or what's really going to happen is either going to wind up in an accident, it's going to wind up getting repossessed, somebody's going to do something awful to it. Why? Is because it's not in your frequency. It's going to want to jump away from you very quick. So the universe is holding it for you in escrow, waiting for you to become the right frequency, to give you your treasures, to give you your gems, to give you the things that you want, the reality to what you want. You have to be willing to change. If you want to be wealthy, you're going to eat in wealthy places. Stop going to Taco Bell. Just saying. If you had $1 million, would you eat a Taco Bell? Or if you had $1 million, would you go to Taco Bell and buy everybody Taco Bell? Yeah, nobody. Yeah, I hope nobody. If you're eating Taco Bell, hang up, get off my show. No, I'm kidding. Hey, yo, take care of Taco Bell. You could sponsor it. No, I'm kidding. Please, I would not. I don't care if that was the universe's way of giving me $1 million, or if they offered to publish my book.
Taco Bell.
Not happening. I don't know. Maybe I should give them a chance. Maybe everybody can change. Maybe I can forgive them.
Oh boy.
You can clearly tell I got something against them. So, I would, man, I'm gonna tell you what, I gotta go. You know what? I gotta give Taco Bell their props for one thing, and it's a manifesting thing. So that same time, this happened the same day that I got that truck. And remember I told you that I had no money for lunch? Well, that night I'm starving. Somebody put in my tip jar a keychain that was like, it looked like a grocery store thing that you would scan, to get your bonus bucks or your keep up with your coupons, but it was for Taco Bell. And, I remember driving by in my new truck, happy as could be, like I'm happy. And I really had no money. I probably had some change in my a little bit in the console that wasn't even mine. And, so I rolled up, and I didn't know what this thing did. Like, I didn't know if I was going to get a free Frosty, if I was going to get $1 off. But anyway, I scanned it, and they were like, yeah, you can have free taco, your choice, soft taco. Or I was like, okay. And I was like, well, how often can I use this? They were like, every visit. And I was like, well, when does it expire? They're like, it doesn't expire ever. So
wait,
yes, exactly.
What is that?
I still to this day have no clue where that comes from or how you get one, but somebody put that in my tip jar. And so
that's really cool.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. I drove to 3 different Taco Bells that night and had dinner. I really did. And you didn't have to buy anything. It was literally, you just got a taco, and you had to pay the tax on it. So it was like 7 cents for a taco or a soft taco.
Very cool.
But I used that for a whole year. And of course it was Taco Bell, but I didn't go to bed hungry that night. So I got that. And then years later, when I decided I never wanted to eat Taco Bell again, I put it in another bartender's tip jar. I just passed it on. Maybe, hopefully they figured out what it was and that it wasn't just a coupon for a Frosty or something. But sometimes
that's really cool.
The universe is giving us. So, and this is one of the ways that I like to manifest today is not so much defining the things that I want. It's about existing the way that I want to exist. And then being that way, I'm more in alignment with what comes already, because I'm focused on the alignment of how I want to live my life. And so it's more about, I want realities that are conducive to who I am, the resources that I have, the resources that are easily flowing to me, the way that I can spend time with my family, the way that I can set my own schedule. These things are important to me. So now as I'm manifesting and working to manifest and setting to intentions, if I'd like to keep those, my manifestations need to be in alignment with those. If not, they're not going to manifest for me. And so,
and I do find that you're never in the wrong place. You're always exactly where you're supposed to be. And when you look back on things in your life where, of course, you would have, at the time you think that you wanted things to be different, but you can look back now and see why you were there at that place and time, and the lessons that you needed to learn, or the gifts that you received because of it, or whatever. You're never in the wrong place. And you're never in the wrong, you're never doing the wrong thing. It's like it's just this journey that we're on, and it's all coming together exactly how it should have. And so I don't ever regret or feel like I'm missing out, because I know that in my entire life, all kinds of things happened. I could write a book,
Hmm.
but it was also always supposed to happen. Everything was always supposed to happen, and I have no regrets. And I know that right now in this moment, if I'm struggling with something, I don't regret that either, because I know there's a lesson to be learned here.
So that's part. So I think she's trying to say alchemy. Or it doesn't have to be alchemy. It can be transmutation, or stepping up energy, or changing the frequency or the vibration to the more desirable state, or I like to use the term, people hear me say it all the time, what's serving you. Because there is no wrong or right. Like if I just brought you pancakes, but you don't want pancakes, it doesn't make pancakes bad. That just means wasn't serving
Right.
you in that moment. So, and that's a lot of the realities that we go through that we think are bad, or why is this happening to me? Often they're not happening to you. It's what are you supposed to learn from it? And that's because that lesson is the very thing to help you change your frequency, to then allow the thing that you've been desiring so much to come into your reality.
Yeah.
So what new have you manifested in your life that was absolutely through terms of intention and manifestation, and recently, within the last 6 months, year? Can you give me a good example?
The house I'm living in. I mean, the house I'm living in, I moved it. I moved last year. We were living in a beautiful neighborhood for like 8 years. It was time for a change, and I had a very specific. We lived in a townhome with a tiny little yard, and I was very specific about what I wanted to find in a new house, down to like very small details, and you know even the price. Like, I knew exactly how much I rent, and I knew exactly how much I was going to pay for this house. And I didn't find the house found me. I literally got an email from someone who said, "Hey, I heard you're looking for a house. A friend of mine is a friend of yours and said that you're looking for a house, and I might have a house that would work for you.
So you
Would
had
you
a
like to
friend
come see it?"
co-create for you. So in saying that, did your
Yeah.
friend happen to
And
have
I
any
did not
idea
tell
about your
my friend.
specifications?
No.
So,
Nobody knew.
but they knew you needed a house, and it's beautiful.
Right.
So they had good intentions for you in that opportunity
Right.
too, which is beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah. So I mean, I feel so blessed, because it's like it was the perfect move for us.
So
So
I like to use
yeah.
disclaimers. There's a few people left on here with us, because I usually in the show an hour and a half. Is that manifesting may not always work for you. Objects may be closer in the mirror, and the reason being is because there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to manifesting. It's not a black and white thing. If you say do XYZ, well, there's this other common denominator. That's you. And you are a
Right.
complex being that may feel one way one day, and in 2 seconds later feel completely different. You may have somebody else affect you. You may have circumstances that may change. All these different things and that's why things just don't show up, period. Like if you said, I want a gold brick to fall out of the sky, and then you forget about it 2 seconds later, and you're standing right where that gold brick is supposed to fall, it's going to kill you. So the universe realizes this. There are safety mechanisms. I want a Bentley, and then all of a sudden you cross the street and get mowed over by a Bentley. It's not
Yeah. Needs to be a little more specific than
right. So it's about,
that.
ultimately, the funny thing is most people don't want a Bentley. They don't want the maintenance of it. They don't want the value. It depreciates. So you literally lose like $40,000 the second you drive off the lot. Nobody wants that to happen. What they want is the experience of clout. They want the experience of luxury. They want the experience of owning something that somebody else can't easily get. Well, guess what? There's a million other ways to get there. And then once you have that and have that in your life, it's easily replicatable to the point of owning a Bentley. That's how people who own Bentleys, that's what they do. They really, really, really want to spread that to that's the energy that they want. So that's why it's worthwhile getting clear. So like, I hear a lot of, oh, I want a yacht. Really? You want a yacht? You got $200,000 a year for gas money?
Uh-huh.
So you got to have the lifestyle that goes along with owning a yacht. So, that's where what it really comes down to. And listen, getting just clear with all these things can start people helping start to help people manifest just their I like to call it your thriving state. And that's where everything's working in your favor and serving you.
Yeah.
Because often as we come through these spiritual trials that we go through, we often take ourselves right out of a thriving state, and it seems like, oh my God, I'm getting beat up left and right. I like to say cancel clear, because I don't want to manifest that to myself. Go to Wawa and get beat up. Cancel clear. Exactly.
And I also want to mention that there is something that I've noticed specifically recently, that when I can get into a state, and I can do it pretty quickly now because, I've been meditating for quite a while now. And so I can change my state as I decide to. But if I find that I'm in a state of lack where I feel like I want something to happen, regardless of what it is, if I want it to happen, it means that it hasn't happened yet or whatever, even if it's like finding a parking spot or, whatever.
Mm.
I sit for a minute with myself and I change my state to a state of giving, where I'm just like giving my love.
So
ready to serve.
I don't know, whoever's still here, y'all got to understand that's called master. So I think it's you and I. That's master manifesting. That's what it takes to master manifesting. And as frequency works, when people aren't ready for the master step, right? What do? They disappear for whatever reason. To hear that state of switching to giving versus receiving is master manifesting. Like, you're a visualizer. Like, you have the ability to everybody's not capable of this. And when I say they're not, it's they don't have the predisposition. It doesn't mean they don't have the ability to, or excuse me, they don't have the potential for the ability to do it. They are not in a state where it's conducive to the way that they think, the way that they have habits, the way that they believe, and some of their genetic trauma, and when I say genetic, I mean some of their past family stuff too, not just the genetic stuff, but,
right.
And, so kudos for you, because you are on a path to, the other thing too, is that we always got to remind you is you got to continue to remember that you can do this, because yes, our reality is very good at beating us up sometimes to, I keep saying beating up, but
it's funny because I
word.
forget, even as I'm telling you this now, it's like, well, there are a couple times I can think of today that I could have used that technique, but in the moment I didn't have it. It didn't even dawn on me to try it, but there were a few times today that I did use it and it worked like a charm.
So there's
it's amazing. It's really just getting into this like mode of like ready to serve everyone who's around you, serve the business that you're walking into, serve whatever.
How to win friends and influence people. The principle is in there. It's also called, it's also the law of three, which I'll try as three people show up. The law of three is, they call it the Trinity, but that's like the whole idea of mind, body, spirit. So if you create it in your mind, hold it in your body, and allow it into your spirit, you have to have it. In the Bible, Matthew 7:7, it says, "Seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be open to you, and ask and it shall be given." So yes, the power of three is a powerful thing. Co-creating in threes is an even more exponential powerful thing. It becomes more difficult to communicate when you add the third person, though. And I shouldn't say more difficult. I don't like that word. It's not difficult at all. It's not even that it's more complex. There are more steps to communicating, because
more moving parts because every individual has their own um, version of what they desire.
Exactly.
Even if you're desiring the same thing, it's for different reasons, or it's for, you know, it's not exactly the same, or that maybe that somebody is hesitant, and so it's a little different. I've actually been working in my family on manifesting something as a family, and I'm finding that I feel like I wonder if it's even sometimes slowing it down because if we're not all exactly on the same page, um,
Exactly. So yes,
it gets
it's
wonky.
yes. Very. So I have been in that state and offer and tried to figure that out. And what it is um, people have to come into attunement first, especially with family, because we have these
Mm-hmm.
predispositional roles that we play in family. Also, each one of those people are, we tend to allow the cool thing about family is you can say you're having a bad day. Like your mother doesn't like, get the fuck away from me. Why are you so negative? Right? It's your mom. She loves you. She doesn't, it doesn't matter if you're having a bad day. To her, it's not she's ready to embrace you, wrap you up and take you out of that state. And what I mean by that is their family tends to be accepting of no matter what state, whether you're in conducive to a good manifesting state, and you are
Mm-hmm.
also tend to be the same way with them, which means you can connect. You may be connecting with them on a lower state or a higher state or a state that is not conducive to creating whatever it is that you're trying to create, align, or manifest. And of course, add in the
Right.
family dynamic. It can be sometimes. Um, in my experience, I have found that it is very difficult. And why is because sometimes the family role is there meant to teach other types of lessons. And sometimes there's struggles. And when I say struggle, I don't mean like trying to get through quicksand. I just mean that there's something to be learned there. There's an opportunity. And those things are usually pretty
Mm-hmm.
predefined when it comes to family. So then trying to get out of that and change that whole dynamic with getting clear and super intentional may sometimes be a little more difficult when it comes to family. Sometimes you actually have
Yeah.
to find doesn't even have to be a soul tribe group, but like-minded group. This is where people find hobby groups. You know, I don't know how many times I've seen somebody say, man, I want that kind of a car. And they go hang out at the car club where these guys are sitting outside of a gas station on a Friday night admiring the car. And 6 months down a year, that guy's driving a car just like the rest of those guys. Not because he had the money
Right.
for it, but because he got in alignment with it. You know, all of his friends have one. They were like, well, you're going to ride. It's going to, hey man, I got some spare parts or I know where there's a whatever it is. It happens. I'm a firm believer. I like the old lady with the supercar in the garage that her husband only like 2 months out of his entire life. And now that he's dead, she doesn't want it. She doesn't care. And she says to the young guy, make me an offer. The car's worth $100,000, but he's like, well, I'll give you $1,000. She says, okay, just as long as you take care of it and love it like he did. Well, I've heard that story over and over again coming to reality for people
Yeah.
because they're open to that. And that's what they want. They want that
Right.
experience. It's not even because the supercar might be something different than the exact one or it's somebody else who wanted that supercar and found it that way. And the story to them is almost incidental.
Yeah.
So there are all kinds of little dynamics, and I hope to get into consciousness is we're awake and aware of our surroundings. We're awake and aware how we affect people. We're awake and aware how we're affecting ourselves and our own expectations. We're conscious of what our creations do and what like if we have expectations to be in alignment with something new, how that affects people. Here I am. It's a Sunday night doing this show. Well, I wasn't doing this 6 weeks ago on a Sunday night. So my family now has a different expectation of me as I've manifested this, or as we've manifested this, because this is definitely a community, period.
Yeah.
Those are some of the last little hurdles that I find that hold people back. I just want to I want to reiterate you. Every show, people will probably hear me say meditate. the answer to that is to meditate on it. It's because meditation is that profound. It's that prolific. It is that satisfying. It is that tool. It is the tool. Like it will make every other tool better. It will make every other thought better. It will make, you know, I try. I feel like sometimes the more you
Makes
praise
your
it,
life easier.
in every area, in every action, makes you feel better physically. It affects you mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Makes people treat you better because you're giving off a different vibe. So if you feel like, if you're somebody who feels like people are always mistreating you or they talk down to you or whatever, you start meditating, everybody's going to start treating you different because you are giving yourself that. You're honoring yourself when you meditate.
Yes.
So other people will start to honor you too.
Yes, absolutely. For me, I like divine timing. I got hit by a car years ago, like where I got hit by a car on a bicycle, and it came after a meditation, and I heard a voice in my head that said, "You're going to be okay." And there's the $45,000 check to go buy a BMW. And yeah, I have a little bit of road rash right here. That's the extent of the damages. This tattoo is blurred out here, but if I wanted to, I could have bought that BMW M3 series that I was dreaming about every day while I was walking to school in college. So, and that was all manifesting. That was manifestation. I manifested that accident, and I manifested being okay through it, even though it sucked when it happened. Clearly.
Yeah.
So Beth, I really, 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 I can't, I don't know how much I can express that. I'm so glad that you called in because you were the perfect person to have this discussion with. And, I will,
This is fun.
Thanks. I'm going to need, now I know that you're into astrology and numerology, if not as much, if not more than I am. So I will offer you that if you have a client or a friend or anybody else that might need, it's also welcome to you too. But I'll let you, if you would like to, because you are also a numerologist, that you may not want the numerology report because you can do it yourself. Be happy to do it for somebody else.
I have my whole report done through the whole rest of my life. So.
Exactly. Likewise. So you are welcome to transition it on to somebody else if you like. Be happy to do it for a client or anybody else, or just a friend as a gift, et cetera, et cetera. Because I hand do these, so they take me a few hours, like somewhere between 4 to 6 hours. And I use software to do it too, clearly, because I'm just not a whiz at all the planetary alignments, clearly. And plus, I'm dyslexic. I'm not, but I would definitely write it like I am. that communication college, that communicollege.
The communicollege, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, well, we'll be in touch about that.
Terrific. Wonderful. So it's definitely out there. If you want it, I'm happy to do it. And even if it's just, I could even just make the art for you for your birth chart.
Yeah, maybe because I'm not good with I don't know much about astrology and all that. I'm all about the numerology, but the astrology, I'm not. So.
Oh, well, then I'm going to do, I will be happy to do your zodiac birth chart, because that's actually, that's a lot of information, just as much as numerology is. I feel like I want to say it's accurate. They're very accurate to a predisposition, but they also are accurate in pointing out phases in our lifetime. The 35-year phases, so 0 to 35, 35 to 70, just like how we have the 7 to 14 to 21 in numerology.
Right.
So
okay.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I appreciate you calling in, and you have an absolute wonderful night.
All right. You too, Nick. Thanks.
Ciao.
Bye.
Wow, guys, that was the perfect phone call. So Beth has been on the show. She was on one of our 11/11 series and helped me kick off the show on 11/11. And she is I don't have her social media up here. I wish I did. But you guys can find her on the past show. Plus, if you go to YouTube, you'll be able to find her information from the past show. But she is a life coach and an energy healer and just an all-around genuine, awesome person. And, you know, I just want to, my boy Art said, love the show, bro. Keep it up. Time to manifest some pleasant dreams on a Sunday night. That's right on. I really, really appreciate everybody who interacted today. Tish, it's really good to see you too. Holly Rose said, I thought you were a storyteller. Very good. And Janae said, I love this idea of co-creating. It's a new concept for me. Man, when you can get in alignment with other people and start manifesting your dreams, your desires, experiences, travel, people. You know, I don't like to get into the idea of attracting people because I kind of think of it as a little bit like manipulation. But you change yourself to become the person that you think you would want to be, that would attract the type of person that you want to attract. Do it that way. Do all the work on yourself, and you'll find that the right people will come along and attract with you. And, you know, as a storyteller, talking about storytelling, I think I'm going to take a little bit of time and share some of my manifestation stuff with people to let you know how powerful this is and the type of results that you can really expect. I'm not a flashy, flamboyant person. And I don't like to brag, and I don't like to seem that I'm doing any better than anybody else. But I've had some real success with manifestation. Yeah, Holly, Holly Rose, you mentioned the eclipse tonight. Yes, there is an eclipse going on this morning. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. Do you have any thoughts about that? I'll tell you what, I'm still here. I'm still frisky. If you want to call in and got any ideas about the eclipse and you want to talk about it, and put my number up here. If not, that's okay. But call either one of those numbers if you want to talk about the eclipse and you have some insight about the eclipse. Because I don't have that much insight into the eclipse other than I know it's esoteric value and some of the energy state of it. And I mean, I can turn that into a bunch of things. But if you have some information about the eclipse or thoughts about it or even some questions, I can still answer a few questions about it. We could take a brief call. Sit here and listen to some chill beats as long as you guys are still joining me. We are live. I am taping this session. It will go on YouTube later. And listen, guys, I'm growing the community. I'm building a group page, the Facebook page, our website. So there's going to be a lot more for you guys to interact with coming up. There's a magazine, there's an Awake and Wear magazine coming. And I've got some wonderful guests lined up next week and the week after. I have Joanna Albrecht who's coming, and she is an energy healer. She does guided meditations, like she does recorded guided meditations. She's got the perfect voice for doing meditation. So all the talk about meditation tonight, perfect segue into that. And then Amanda Meyer's going to be here, the lady who wrote the Breakthrough Success, and amazing, wonderful person successful in so many areas of her life, and has had how she overcame hurdles in her life and depression and a bunch of things. And she's got a bunch of tools for being successful in your life too. And she's going to be on the show in 2 weeks after that. And then before the year's out, man, I've got some serious heavy hitters coming on the show. And we just got to work down their time. So I'm not going to say anybody's coming in on this specific date yet. But I've got some really big, when I say heavy hitters, I mean people who are changing the world. They're not just changing themselves. I mean, all these people, everybody that's been on the show and everybody's called in is a world changer and changing this community. I mean, there are people who are doing this on a daily, who are interacting with thousands of people all over the globe and are pushing the globe around. So super excited about that, super elated to share these people with you and share their but also to hear your guys' perspectives and your thoughts and your concerns, and like, what are the struggles that you have waking up? What are the struggles that you have living consciously? What are the struggles that you have carrying energy throughout the day, because I know that's been, man, this week. Yeah, man, my sleep schedule's been disrupted, or my rest schedule. In addition to that, I had a day where like I slept the whole day. I mean, I got up, I went to dinner with a friend, Damien. He's talked on the show a bit and might even actually come on the show himself. I went to dinner with him the other night and we talked about everything but aliens. And, I had been in bed all day, woke up, jumped out, went to get food, came back and went right back to bed. And maybe I was exhausted, and maybe, or not exhausted, but maybe I was spent and I really needed the rest, but I didn't feel that way. Like I just felt like, it's the energy. I knew that's the kind of thing that tells me the full moon's coming in my body. But also, so here's another thing about this full moon too, is this is one of the last signs that shows that we're coming into winter. This is what's called a beaver moon. A beaver moon is it's the last full moon of fall, and it's generally in nature. That's when the beaver goes to hibernation. So that's why it's called a beaver moon, because it's got teeth or chops wood. And I only say that because in other parts of the country, they see animals in the moon, and like how we see the man in the moon, in Japan, they see the rabbit in the moon. And even when I look at it, I see the Energizer Bunny. So I know I'm weird. So that's it for the show today, unless, the phone lines are still up. But if nobody calls me, I'm going to call it a night. And I'm just going to take these numbers down. So it was a really good night. I'm looking at my list of topics and I hit them all. Very cool. And so thanks everybody for joining me. It was a wonderful November 29th. It's 10:18. Tomorrow is my mother's birthday, and 11:30. Mom is going to be, not going to say how old she is, but she's excited about her age when she looks in the mirror because it's in reverse and it's a younger age. Love her very much, and we're going to do something special for her tomorrow. So I look forward to that. And for everybody that out there that prayed for my mother and sent positive energy, thank you very much. Blessings, love, and light. Thanks for joining us on Awake and Aware. And we will see you next week, same time. Wake up. I'm up.